Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. Just need to make a quick fix here. I was messing around with some settings earlier and completely wrecked the Chrome tab. There we go. So tonight we are going to be talking about Imperial armor. Um, the reason I wanted to bring up this particular list build is, like I said last week, that I think it's a good counter to the Fives Fire Sport build. We'll talk more about why that is later if you don't already know. But first, let's kind of start with some news. For those of you who are looking forward to my banned and restricted list stream this week, unfortunately, we did have to postpone that until next week. My girlfriend and daughter both caught COVID, so we have been isolating them in the bedroom, me in my office, for about the past 5 or 6 days. It's been quite an experience. Unfortunately, it looks like I'm going to be quarantined until the start of the week following this one, even though I'm not positive. I guess basically at the end of their quarantine, my quarantine started. So that's why that stream was delayed. That was the day we found out the test results. And I had to basically figure out, can we afford for me to take off work? Like, what do we need to do? That sort of thing. I don't like sharing too much about my personal life in general, but I did think it was important to explain to people why, when I promise that I'm going to do something, if I'm not able to do it, why that happened. So, ultimately, I think that this upcoming week's stream should be no issue, assuming that I don't come down horribly sick, which I'm not showing any symptoms, so as far as I know, I don't have it. So we will be doing the banned and restricted live stream next Tuesday at 5, as we had planned on doing this week. In addition, regrettably as well, it looks like both the Las Vegas Open and Adepticon are both canceled, so we're looking at the earliest Gen Con for another big Legion event. I know it is kind of disheartening for a lot of people because we're down a whole season. Adepticon to LVO is an entire season's worth of conventions, and now we're even bleeding into a second year's worth of seasons with another Adepticon cancellation. That said, I think that one of the greatest strengths of this game is its online community. Invader League, Yavin-based Team League, both are incredible. Oh, and the latter, though I haven't played it myself. I have played the other two. There are all these incredible online systems that the community is coming up with during this time to make sure that people stay engaged, stay socially distant, whatever else, which is really, I think, good overall for not only the state of the game, but the state of, the players. We don't want anyone getting sick and not being able to make it to any other events because of tragedy. So with that in mind, just be aware, LVO and Adepticon are canceled. If in the event that I get any additional news regarding Gen Con or something on a stream, I will, of course, share it. But at this time, that is all we really know. So I encourage you to continue playing, continue to buy from your local game stores, support these small businesses as time kind of wears down on them because they're suffering just as much as you are in many ways. I know my local game store has had to sell a lot of his product at half off, taking losses, if not more, just to keep the lights on, basically. And I do think it's important to be socially responsible at this time, so that's why, for example, I'm quarantining for 14 days. I did have plans to go see another member of Team Relentless, spend some time with family during the holidays, and regrettably none of that was able to happen. So I understand why they decided not to have these conventions, and I do hope that we're able to get past this as a community, keep the game strong, keep it vibrant. Now, on a positive note on that is we have a brand new RRG. I mean, it's not brand new now. I'm past the hype point where everyone was talking about it, but we also know that Luke Eddy is going to be moving to AMG, so one of the developers will be staying on with the game, which is, I think, a really strong point for the game in general. I think we're going to be strong moving forward. I guess is kind of what I want to say. So anyway, onto the list building. Imperial armor, in my opinion, got a pretty significant buff in the new RRG, and there's a couple of reasons for that. And first, we're going to talk about points, changes. The change to aggressive tactics really didn't affect ATSTs that much, though it will in some lists affect occupiers. Really nothing else in the main list. I mean, Comms Jammer hasn't really changed for us. The fact the ATST went down again in points is nice. The Dewback going down in points, the Mortar going down or up in points, all do actually have pretty significant changes. And the tank going down in points is pretty awesome too. So we're looking at a situation where Imperial armor is cheaper than it's ever been. We're in a meta where units can throw out massive dice pools, but they're going to roll a lot of hits. And repairing Imperial armor is more efficient than it's ever been. And the reason that I bring this up is that I am a huge fan of Delmico as a supporting character in Imperial armor lists. I'm not going to show him in every list, but I think that you can create some really interesting setups where you can, my tank took 3 wounds, you can take 1 activation, heal that entire set back. So with that in mind, we're going to talk a little bit also about, let's just fly past all this because this isn't important, the transport changes, specifically transport open. TLDR, transport open now has become mobile heavy cover, which is really, really efficient for a couple of different units. You could put an HH-12 unit, I believe, in a tank, and then it wouldn't have to worry about cumbersome because the tank is moving and not the unit. So they can just recover shoot to their heart's content. I don't think it's the best use, but there's a niche case for it. More effectively, people are talking about the meme build of putting E-webs in the back of an occupier. I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea. The occupier's biggest weakness, in my opinion, has always been lightsaber users. Putting an E-web in an occupier that then just sits there and standbys and just zones the area around the occupier, I think is a very effective way of holding off lightsabers. Is it always the best use of a tank? Maybe not. But it's interesting that we now have this situation where the devs looked at, hey, this unit had transport, but no one really ever used it for that. I mean, I did. I threw some sabs in it every once in a while to do some tricky stuff. But most of the time, you weren't taking the occupier for its transport. You were taking it for its nice long-range guns and pretty heavy defense. Now, there's a lot of good reasons to take an open transport. And I am hoping we see a lot more of that. So that's kind of where part of the theme of this build set came from, was creating this idea that, the occupier isn't so meany anymore. So anyway, I've got 4 builds I want to show off. So we're going to start off with the meme, which is tanks and E-webs. So it's a pretty nice little build here. 8 activations. You do kind of have a weird spread of orders. You could easily cut aggressive tactics in favor of improvised orders in this list. I don't think that would necessarily be the worst thing. But this is where we're going to talk a little bit about my love of Delmico and how I like to build him. So you got the Imperial Officer. You got 2 tanks with 2 E-webs. They've got HQ uplinks, barrage generators. They're just going to recover shoot every turn. You got some good suppressive there. That's going to let you zone out entire areas of the board where your opponent just cannot enter without wasting activations into the E-web. And E-webs are chunky. They have a lot of durability, especially if you can get them surges, which is what aggressive tactics is there for. Basically, you're going to be issuing orders to the tanks and the E-webs every turn. Because, thanks to the core build, you never have to issue a core an order. And the reason for that is you've got Gideon Hask with a comms tech and an HQ uplink in a shore trooper unit. So every turn, he's going to recover, shoot, recover, shoot. And what that's going to do is that's going to then allow him every turn to get an order. He's then going to coordinate that order to Delmico, who in the shore trooper squad, who is then going to coordinate to the mortar. So your core is out of the bag every turn. You actually probably the only thing ever in your bag per se is your Imperial officer, because you don't ever want to be giving them an order. They're of course on the ambush turn. You're going to have a tank in there as well, but that's not the worst thing. The unfortunate part about this list is you have to take covert observation, and you don't have a valid target for it. So you probably want to open the game with the standing orders, so you don't have to worry about not having that card. But being short down a 1-pip can be a big downside, especially if you go up against someone like, Maul, who can bring 3 1-pips to the table. You got to be aware that you're going to probably lose priority a lot with this list. But anyway, I kind of think that the Del Mico, our 4 Shore Trooper squad, is kind of self-evident why it exists. It's a repair 3 capacity 4. Or I'm sorry, repair 2 capacity 1 and repair 1 capacity 2. Basically, you can heal 4 wounds off of either tank through the course of the game. One is a burst of 3, and one says a burst, just a single wound if you really want to go that route. Or you could go 2, 1, 1. It really doesn't matter. You have lots of options in terms of how you heal your vehicles. Let's see here. What else is there to really say? This is just, I think this is a really interesting way of playing these characters. You could also downgrade the Shore Troopers to Stormtroopers. The reason I take Gideon in that list, or in that build, is because I like just recovering and getting targets, so you're not losing any action economy. But you could. You could drop it to Stormtroopers without too much of a loss. You'll just be throwing less accurate dice overall. So yeah, that's that list. Let's talk a little bit about the objectives, because in this one I actually included them. I think you want to play the obvious choices, payload and key positions, which are objectives that your occupiers can actually be involved in. That's a good question, actually. I haven't thought about that. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I don't. Yeah, you do lose the fixed front keyword. By the way, this is a comment on the Twitch stream. That you don't think you can use the E-web to tab the generator while inside the tank. It does lose the fixed keyword. I think that's an oversight. I think it is intended that you can still use generators while in the tank, and I would play it that way. That's actually a great thing, though, that we hopefully will get a response for in the forums now that we are, we know that Luke's back. So, me personally, I'm a big fan of it, and I think it should be allowed. And I don't think you should lose a very, pretty unique upgrade option just because you decided to stick it in the back of a tank. It just seems like a small oversight to me. So yeah, that's what I think about that. I do think you should allow it, at least in homebrew games for now, until we get an official response, yay or nay, from Luke. So yeah, back that is a really good point though. Thank you for bringing that up, because I actually hadn't even considered that. I was just like, I'll just throw generators on this thing. So anyway, payload key positions are good for the occupier. You're gonna just basically move forward, zoning out your enemy with the E-webs. Sabotage is good if you're playing blue. Bear in mind that most of my lists don't have a significant bid, so I don't always assume that I'm going to have it. But if you're playing blue, Sabotage is always an advantageous position to be in. Though you do only have a couple of core that are going to be able to clear those objectives. That might just be your officer's job for the entire game. It's just to run around damaging or fixing or whatever you're doing to the objective. Then intercept the transmissions. You got to take a fourth option. It's not good for your list. It's got a good center point that you can zone your opponent off of. That's basically, you park 2 tanks on the transmission in a V formation like this, where you can stick a unit or the officer right there behind them. You'll score it. They can't. That's basically what you're trying to do. I don't know if there's actually a good way to win that. Probably want to avoid it if possible. Bombing run might be a better option. Yes and no. Tanks can move deceptively fast, but I don't see a good option for your third bomb. That's the reason I didn't include it. Because your E-webs can't take the bomb if they're in the tank, as far as I know. So you're stuck with 2 bombs, and anyone who plays Bombing Run probably already has a better plan for that. I looked at it, I didn't think it was a great option. Now, if you want to talk about Bombing Run, we will. Don't worry, we'll get to that. My deployments are based on my own personal preference with this sort of list. Long March, Rollout, Hemmed In, Major Offensive. You don't have Ranged 5 here, so Long March kind of seems counterintuitive, but if your opponent has snipers and a Jedi, I'd rather have Long March in that scenario, because you really, really, really don't want a Jedi getting to your occupiers. They do not do well against impact pierce weapons. As for the conditions, these are mostly going to be the same. War-weary hostile, you have a list that's built around heavy courage and vehicles that don't care about suppression. Clear conditions is just there because you don't have a better option, and supply drop is in every one of these lists, and the reason for that is you can get value out of every card in the deck. There is not a single bad card for you in this deck, whereas most people can draw into an awkward card. You will always get value from drawing out of the supply deck with vehicle lists, which I think is a huge boon. So keep that in mind. I think supply drop is actually really good for these lists, and it'll be in every one of these. But anyway, back to the top. Let's talk about my personal favorite. ATST in a tank. This is what I like. 797 out of 800. Again, I'm not expecting to get blue in any situation here. But, you know, you take the Elite Armor Pilot, you take the RT-97C. I always take the RT-97C. I don't think the DLT is worth it if you have impact elsewhere in your list, which you do because you have an ATST with an Elite Armor Pilot and a Twin Light Blaster Cannon. Again, we've got the Shore Trooper, Delmico, Gideon, Hast lineup. 2 strike teams with DLT 19Xs, so you are going to have that long range support, and Veers with aggressive tactics. Another benefit I guess I didn't really mention in the previous one is that because you know you're getting your 3 core out of your bag every turn, as long as you're issuing an order to a tank ever, you're getting your full value out of your aggressive tactics. That said, Veers, of course, is obviously going to issue an order to himself during maximum firepower. Again, that's probably your turn 1. He's getting a surge on defense. It's not bad. Ambush, pin down. Now, a lot of people are going to question why I decided to take evasive maneuvers over push, because I don't have link targeting arrays in this list. And the short answer to it is if you're going up against double heavies as an opposition. So, for example, a lot of people are looking at double AAT with the T-Series when it drops, or Field Commander AAT, or double AAT. Evasive maneuvers will help you win the anti-armor war. It's just, an ATST should win against an AAT, but if you want to give yourself that extra insurance policy, taking evasive maneuvers is going to help you negate some of that damage it's going to try to throw back at you. Imperial Discipline, just because coordinated fire is a rubbish option by comparison, and Assault because, again, you want to issue orders to your vehicles. So this list, again, doesn't really have many changes. Payload, sabotage, key positions. I actually probably would have changed this. Actually, I'm going to change this. I don't actually think that you would go with this. I think you do go with Intercept. This was an earlier version of this list. Again, Long March, Hemmed In, Rollout, Major Offensive. It's just a personal preference. Though in this case, I do think that Long March is a really strong pick for you because you do have a lot of range. Supply drop, War Weary. Now, Minefield. You might be wondering why I decided to take Minefield. The answer is that the ATSD don't care. It doesn't care about mines. If it walks into a mine and takes a double bang, so be it. It doesn't mind. Whereas the tanks don't necessarily love driving on mines. It's also good for helping you screen against enemy lightsabers. Lightsabers do not like to run into mines because they can't deflect them as effectively. So I personally like Minefield for this build. This is probably my go-to for now. Until we get any additional information. I think this is the... I like this list a lot. I've played it a couple of times. It's very effective. I mean, you're not... And so you might be wondering, like, are you going to put something in the tank? Yes, I would put Delmico in the tank, honestly. Or actually put Gideon in the tank. Not thinking about it. You put Gideon in the tank because now he doesn't have to move. Now he can literally just recover shoot all day long. And as long as Delmico is near, as long as you set it up right where Delmico's somewhat near him, you can keep your chain going pretty effectively. One of the big advantages of the Gav occupier is that it doesn't need to close. like the ATST does. The ATST needs to get into range 3 in order to use its second gun, the 88 Twin Light. The Occupier has 2 range 4 guns, so it can just sit there and pound away at range 4. Putting Delmico in it, or putting Gideon Hask in it, allows them kind of just to sit there, recover, shoot anything that gets into range 3, and you can set up that nice little firing line where, if needed, where you have all those units kind of lined up nicely. It's not necessary, though. You don't have to put anyone in the tank in this build, I think. It's just there as an option if you really need to get to an objective or something. So yeah, that's that build. Local Group here has really enjoyed the HH-12 with the specialist in the tank. Yeah, get name shot every round and recover it all back. I didn't put it in this build because it's a little bit weird. But I think there's some possible value down in putting Veers in a list with 2 of those HH-12 guys and the tanks with like RT-97Cs, where you can use Imperial Discipline just to get all those recoveries back for free. It's a cheaper option than going like full Goat Shore, and I think it's got a lot of impact, which is pretty impressive. That said, it's probably not as good against anything that isn't made of armor, so take that with a grain of salt. I think it's cool. I'd like to see somebody run it. It's not my cup of tea. Now, the other thing you can do with this list that's kind of interesting is if you decide you don't want aggressive tactics, you can actually, and you're not loving the 8 activations, you can cut Veers and put in 2 Imperial officers, one of which has strict orders. Same cost. You do lose access to all of Veers' command cards, which is why I don't recommend it, but it does give you an extra activation. It helps deal suppression. So it just becomes a question of what you think you need more. If you think you need suppression management or just raw damage cancellation, it's totally up to your personal preference. And then we've got home double ATST. Now this is not a build I'm super fond of because, as you can see, it does not include Gideon Hask, Delmico, and a border. But it is a very simple 2 ATST list. It's got 3 strike teams, 2 shores, 2 mortars. This is actually one, though, where I would say you can play hostage exchange without feeling too bad because you just stick it on like a mortar or one of the shore squads and just run away. That's weird. I didn't realize I'm allowed to take 5 of these. Cut that out of there. So yeah, just more of the same again. I think in this case, coordinated fire is not necessarily bad, though probably still want to go Imperial Discipline. It's just a better bet when you want to issue the ATST's orders every turn. So let's save that because that needs to change. I won't take credit for this build. This build's been around for a while, or variants of it thereof. This is just, if you want to put 2 ATSs on the table, it's real good. If your opponent doesn't bring lightsabers and you play like KP, it's got a lot of strong options there. So there's that. And then this is one that I think that my teammate Boyha would like, is I call it Vehicle Hell. It is General Veers, 3 speeder bikes, 2 occupiers, and 3 stormtroopers. It is 9 activations. This list will probably win on bombing run. It will probably win on key positions. It'll probably win on breakthrough. And it'll probably win on VAPs because it's really hard to kill most of your stuff without being killed in return. So this is also a list that will absolutely just nuke any other armor list because you've got so much impact. You've got impact 2 on all this, impact 1 times 2 on every speeder bike, so that's impact 6 effectively. Plus 2 tanks that both have impact 2. So you're looking at 10 points of impact every turn coming into enemy armor. It will shred them. So this is more of just a for funsies build. But I do think it could have legs if piloted by the right player. So some food for thought there. I think that's kind of the interesting stuff there. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of open it up to the stream now to kind of talk about what sort of questions you guys have, or what other sort of builds in this you'd like me to look at, maybe. For what it's worth, my goal is to never go over like 30 minutes of me just chatting without too much audience engagement. If I don't get, I don't want to spend an hour and a half rambling and you guys just have to listen to me say whatever I want. So generally at the half hour mark, I'm gonna try to stop talking for a while, and wait for you guys to send in some stuff, because you guys make interesting builds. I make interesting builds too. But, ultimately, I can't think of everything. So, all right. John Solo, you've brought me a list. Let's have a look-see. Okay, let's see here. John, I'm going to move your list over here, if you don't mind, so it's easier for everyone to see. Okay, so... Oh, my lordy Lou. Okay, my first thought is that you don't have a ton of order control. You have almost every order token in the bag, which is not necessarily the whole worst thing. And I do see you do have upshores, which I love. But you've still got no way to pull consistently the E-Web and the strike teams out of the bag. So there's going to be that element of randomness on a couple of turns. Let me see here. So you got 2 plus that at short trooper with the R4. You've also got a pretty significant bid. I would maybe consider taking Del Mico over one of the T-21Bs, and maybe cut aggressive tactics for improvised orders. Is my first thought here. Just at first blush. Also, you're running RMAP over Imperial Hammer Pilot. Why? Oh, okay. Oh, I see what you're doing. Okay, so the short troopers, your R4 guy is going to get an order, and you're going to give it to the E-Web. Which then leaves the strike teams and Veers in the bag sometimes, most of the time. I don't hate it. I don't know. I see you have RMAB, but you also have an HQ uplink on the tank. So if you're going to be using that uplink a lot, I feel like you're going to want to have a hammer pilot. I don't know, man. I'd have to see that on the table. I feel like it's going to have some activation control issues, just even in like a near perfect world. Definitely, I would recommend changing T-21 out for Del Mico. You'll lose a little offense, but you'll improve the survivability of your tank. Consistent dice pool, 4 reds and 2 blacks. Is that... You're okay, so wait, hold on. Are you talking about... You have the DLT-19, yeah. You do have a consistent dice pool. But I think when I did the math, RMAB and the Hammer Pilot end up being about the same price or value. I guess you could just micro-move the tank and technically get the aim every turn anyway. But then you can't recover as consistently. I don't know. I mean, it depends if the bid is how important the bid is for you. If you don't care about the bid, I would take Hammer Pilot over RMAB every day of the week. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to see this on the table. I'm glad you have supply drop. A lot of people I've noticed with armorless aren't taking that, and I don't know why. There's literally the only list right now I think that's armor based that won't maybe take supply drop is CIS with Field Commander, and that's again because they might get a treat and then they can't use it. But you can use everything in the deck if you have vehicles and regular troopers. So really, really recommend. And this is not just for this kind of build. If you're playing GAR mechanized, if you're playing Rebel mechanized, and even if you're playing like Grievous or Dooku single tank. Supply drop is really good in lists that have the ability to take access to everything it can drop. It creates an element of randomness that people don't necessarily like in a game, but if you've got a good plan in mind to begin with, I think supply drop is probably one of the better options because your opponent won't know what to do. And again, they can draw duds. You can't. Everything you draw will have value because you have vehicles that can be repaired and you have people who can be treated. So, worth thinking about. So yeah. Anything else? I'm going to check the YouTube, check the Twitch. I probably talked really, really fast today too, so I do apologize if I came out kind of squirrely. Like I was just jabber. Because it's been, like I said, been a while. Been a long day in terms of, I'm going stir crazy in here. Just, I can't leave this room, so I'm just like, so yeah. Any other thoughts, comments? That's right. I should probably talk about what else I'm doing. Because of the quarantine and because this whole Twitch thing has been pretty successful thus far, I'm going to be doing quite a bit of additional content over next week because I'm stuck here and I need something to do. So while I'm waiting for some more comments, I'm gonna throw up a couple of things real quick. This is the upcoming schedule. As you can see, we had Imperial Armor today. We'll be doing the banned and restricted list next Tuesday. Next Friday will be Rebel Hero Hammer. In case you're questioning why Rebel Hero Hammer is next, it will almost always include a lightsaber, which pretty explicitly counters my my armor builds. Then we've got Separatist Mechanized Assault, the New Year's kickoff with some promotional prizes, and then January with list building, community voted GAR. So that's going to be where I put up the poll, ask you guys what you want me to build with GAR, and kind of roll with that. So that's the YouTube, Twitch, Team Relentless, content-based plan here. Now, that said, you'll notice there wasn't a whole lot for next week. I am planning on streaming basically every day on my Twitch only. I will be streaming various PC games that I like, so I'm thinking probably Monday. I don't know. We'll see. Probably start Sunday. So Sunday, I think I'm going to stream Civ 6. I may have a guest with me on that. Monday, I'm going to stream Total War Warhammer 2. Tuesday, there will not be a game stream because there will be the banned and restricted list stream. That will take up that time. Wednesday, I believe I'm going to stream Mountain Blade Bannerlord with... I'll probably start a new character, which is going to be interesting because I have some really strong ones that I've had for a while now. And then Thursday, I will be streaming... What was it? Stellaris, that was what it was. I'll be streaming Stellaris on Thursday, and then Friday will be a list building stream. Saturday, I'll be streaming Star Wars Squadrons. Hopefully, again, we'll have some guests for that. Still trying to set that up. I want to get some community engagement. Honestly, if I can get people who want to play those games on every single day, I'll do multiplayer versions of every single one of those games because I think that would be fun. That's just going to kind of be on the Twitch alone. It's going to be more for seeing what people are interested in, seeing what people like to watch, and so that I can actually have something to do while I'm stuck in this room. There's a good chance that my girlfriend and daughter will be leaving to go to my mom's for that week, so I might have a little bit more space to maneuver. But so yeah, that's going to be what that is. I'll have a schedule posted up hopefully tonight in regards to some of that content in the order of what's going to happen. Other than that, what else is there? We did have a snafu, I should probably mention, where I was trying to stream a game of fives versus some Rebel stuff, and the camera went crazy. I don't really know what happened with the stream on that one. We did take it down. I am editing, splicing it together. I'm hoping to have it up this week, where you'll see how just brutal Five's fire support can be against a list that's not able to completely screen it. Hello, Prairie Pirates. I'm doing well. If you can't tell, I'm a little stir crazy right now, as I've been saying. I'm feeling a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But we're going to have that. And then I'm hoping also, if someone is interested, and if any of you guys are interested in doing this with me, please let me know. Message me directly or comment, whatever you want to do. I would like to do a video of one of these builds, one of these Imperial Armor builds versus double AAT with Field Commander. I think that would be a really interesting live stream to kind of show off the strengths of both of those lists, kind of show an armor v armor, double heavy fight, and how that can be effective. If I had a Field Commander I could play, I would actually go Field Commander as well, but I'm stuck with either taking an officer or Veers, and I think you want to take Veers in that scenario. So if you are interested in doing that exhibition match with me, please contact me either on here or on, I mean, you can comment on the YouTube. I think you can comment on Twitch videos. I'm not sure. Still learning about a lot of this stuff. And then, what's the other one? Oh, Discord. If you know me on Discord, you know you can always message me. John, Griffin, hyphen. I don't even know what comes after the hyphen. There's so many titles. But just look for Griffin. You'll find me. I'll have the R with the summation symbol after it because I do math. It's my thing. So, yeah. If you're interested in doing that exhibition match, let me know. We can stream that or just record it and I can edit it later. Up to you. So, yeah. That's about where I'm at. If anyone else has any questions, I'm going to give it about 3 minutes. If I don't get another question, I'll probably tie it off there. I'm going to put us back to the schedule for now until we have anything I can talk about. This is 100% where I should play some music, but I don't know what I could play without getting the was it DMCA thing, so I'll just leave it for now. Okay, Mandalore on YouTube. I'm having... it's hard for me to read the list. Is there any chance you can shoot me a link in either Tabletop Admiral or Legion HQ? Can you throw it together real quick? That kind of clustered text on YouTube is just hard to tell what you're trying to go for. I see you've got Imperial, an officer in Bosk. Got Delmico, some good stuff. I'm liking some of the stuff I'm seeing. I just can't see it as a cohesive whole. And when I build lists like this, I kind of need to see everything to kind of see the synergies inherent in it. So if you can shoot me a link real quick, that would be awesome. Thank you. So that'll be interesting. We'll see a list that includes an operative. I don't normally include operatives in double heavy. Although, no, that is a double heavy list, so this will be interesting. An operative list with double heavy. We'll switch back over here now. So, yay, something to talk about. I'm actually really interested to see this. Bosk, 2 ATSTs. Okay. Oh, you're welcome, John, for the feedback on the list. By the way, if it ever seems like I'm just shooting a bunch of ideas at you or at a list when you put something up like that, that's literally how I think about lists. I write an idea down, and I write the gimmick, and then I write the list, and then I look at it, and I'm like, but what if I change this? And I blast out this thing, and then I just literally blast out things. And then I spent like an hour super indecisive where I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. Is this better than this? I don't know. And I go back and forth until eventually one of the Team Relentless guys convinces me that I should run whatever I feel is best. And then I usually throw like 4 names in a hat and pull one out. Which is how I ended up going to Indiana at one point with Double Occupier about a year ago. Just to prove a point. And then another time where I went to a tournament with nothing other than Wave 1 units because I was curious if they could stand up in a modern meta. Turns out they could. I won that tournament. Which I think is just hilarious. But yeah, if you show me a list, I'm just going to throw ideas at it. Don't think that I'm saying your list is bad or that, you should change all these things. They're all like changes. I'm like, this might be good. But they might not be. Like, I don't think you take all of my suggestions in most of those cases. I don't think you can afford to take all my suggestions in most cases. It's more just like you pick and choose. Like, I'm gonna try this change, and then you're gonna see how it feels, and then you go, I'll put this back to where it was. I'm gonna now try this change, and then you play those games, and that's kind of how you tune your list to your personal preferences. Because again, I don't think a lot of people would like this list. Like, I don't think a lot of people would enjoy playing this list because a lot of people don't like this Delmico Gideon Hask build that I have. I love it. It's very me. It's very built around the order control that I love. But, I mean, you're paying a lot of points for units that don't have a huge amount of offense and don't have a huge amount of durability. So, it's not for everyone. I don't want people to, if you're going to run these lists, especially the ones that I say are like my build lists, that's the point of these streams, is to explain how they work. But you're going to need to practice. You're going to need to understand that like Gideon Hask is going to have to recover, shoot every turn, or you're going to have 3 core in your bag. The only order where you could possibly avoid that is like Imperial Discipline or Assault. And maybe there are times where that happens. Again, I guess I really haven't commented on this, but I really believe in the whole Bruce Lee thing. I think it was, he said, I don't fear the man who's learned 1,000 kicks or whatever. I only fear the man who's done one kick 1,000 times. People who play one list over and over, refine it, make it better, make it their own, in my experience, are significantly more dangerous players than people who just play the meta lists, whatever they, whatever they heard was good at the time, or whatever I say is good, or whatever, any of us top players say are good. I think there are some what I would call top players who just play one meta, like one niche list, and they're really, really good, and they beat a lot of us really good players with it because they know that list in and out. So yeah, I'm going to check on the YouTube real quick. Okay, just more comment on it. That's okay. That's a lot. Yeah, if it has a lot of repair, that could be fun. But you got to remember that your opponent always has the option for target selection. You're gonna have to not present them with targets, but we'll talk about that more once you're able to get that list up. Okay. While I'm waiting for that, I guess Parade Pirates has a list for me. All right, let's see what you got. Is it supposed to be just Palpatine? Oh, okay, the second half of it didn't load. it just pulled Palpatine up, and I was very confused as to oh man, what it was trying to do there. Okay. Well, this is not a double heavy list. I don't want to show this. It's not I'll show it, but it's not a double heavy list, so I don't love it. But sure, we'll bring it up anyway, just for laughs. So yeah, we are looking at no, I'm done with it. It's not a double heavy list, and it doesn't even have a Pintle on the RT90 or not on the Occupier, man. This is not the Hero Hammer or Big Boys Empire build. This is double heavy. We're getting that out of there. Vader is not a heavy. He is a commander or an operative, depending on what you choose, but he is not a heavy. Ah, man. I knew I should have gone down that rabbit hole. I knew you were trapping me, but I regret nothing. All right, let's see here. Still waiting on that other link. I just realized we had that live chat box below my head, and it never actually shows anything. I gotta get that fixed. I should really, I should give credit where credit's due. I did not design this. Nerfly did, so any technical issues are completely his fault, and I had nothing to do with it, and I'm just a guy in a chair who's doing a video segment for the entertainment of the masses who will then make fun of me later. He's the creative guy. I'm just a guy who makes janky lists and somehow succeeds with them. So, hopefully we'll get that fixed. I would actually really like to have that fixed by the banned and restricted thing. So maybe I'll try to focus on that tomorrow, since I won't be doing a live stream tomorrow. The first one will be... Ooh, actually. I wonder... How quickly can I do this? It'd be really cool if I could actually build a, what do you call it? I did not see your link. I actually was waiting on it. So if you got it, please show me, because I did not see it. Yeah, no, I don't. Mandalore, I do not see a link. Did you send it to me on Discord, maybe? Nope, not there. I see... What do you think about this list? Sure, what I like is you have 8 repairs, draw fire, see my link. No. So I don't know if it didn't post. But as it stands right now, I do not currently have a link from you. Oops, sorry about that, guys. Oh, there's a whole story here. Basically, I'm also in school, and I wrote a paper talking about how Wendy's media marketing was built around the idea of like being sassy, and I was getting some feedback from a fellow student aide about what he thought about my choice of topic. I guess everybody else wrote about like President Trump and Joe Biden and all these like serious topics, and I just came in with a commentary on Wendy's. All right, Prairie Pirates. I'm gonna trust. Oh, is it the link's not working? Oh, you mean that the yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna trust that this one. I'm gonna vet it first. That this one is a this is a double heavy list. Okay, we actually showed a list very similar to this, so that one's fine. To which I'm going to close out of that. I'm going to pull up my version of it. So this is the one that Prairie Pirates submitted. It's got Imperial officer, 3 shore troopers with recon intel, 3 mortars, 2 strike teams, and 2 ATSTs with all the goods. It's 1 more activation, but you lose Veers, which I don't love. I'll be honest. I think the increased strike teams and the fact that you get access to Veers' command hand is probably stronger. Mandalore, give me half a sec. I'm going to see something. If your name's the same on the Legion Discord, it'll be easier. Nope. Okay. Dylan, yeah, if you want to share your list as well, feel free. I don't know if there's just live links just aren't working on YouTube. Let me think. Right, yeah, you took a short, yeah, Prairie, you took a short and a mortar over, nope. You took a short, a mortar over an extra sniper and Veers. I think it's fine. I just don't necessarily love it. I'm just gonna say that. I don't. I think they're sort of. I think they're basically analogs for each other that you can do either or. I personally prefer the extra damage or for Veers, and that kind of helps you just win against those double heavy builds. You're asking which is better in my opinion, the twin light or the grenade? Because you run the grenade, I think you should almost always take the twin light. Basically, I didn't even notice the grenade launcher, honestly. The twin light is going to be better in pretty much all situations. It's got impact, it's got better dice. The blast basically is canceled out by the fact that it throws better dice. So you also want to keep distance against like Jedi and stuff, and the 88's better for that. So that again, that's just a personal opinion though. Okay, give me half a sec here. I've got a lot of different comments. I need to find someone real quick. I am not seeing you, Mandalore, on my Discord. Are you a member of the Legion Discord? Also, Dylan Phillips, we're having some issues sharing links right now through the YouTube chat. So I'm going to try to come up with a solution lickety split. For now, I need to keep that off. Oh. Okay. Sorry, folks. Doing a bit of we'll call it bookkeeping. Just trying to find people right now. Home, start a conversation. Not helpful. Oh, here we go. Why is it not working? There we go. That's a good idea. If you're gonna, Dylan, that might actually be good for you too. Put it in the Star Wars Legion Facebook group and tag Team Relentless. I should be able to find it from there. That should come up as a high priority. Actually, I have a post in the Facebook group. If you guys just want to put the links in there, that's also probably fine. Let's see here. Okay. While we're waiting on that, I got a Discord message here from Frothy23. I think that's how I'm gonna say it. Frothy23. It is not a double heavy list, but we'll show it off for the time being. Because if I show off one list, I should probably show off all of them. So This is on a tabletop admiral, so we've got Veers with strict orders, aggressive tactics. Again, loving that Del Mico setup with Gideon Hass in the shores. You got 2 dewbacks with T-21s, HQ uplinks, and endurance, and E-Web, which I'm assuming is then sitting in that occupier. Okay, this would probably fall under the category of what people would consider like a meme build or like a joke build, but I actually think this is really cool. I think this could do some damage, to put it simply. A lot of people are going to discount the dewbacks, but dewbacks are pretty durable. You've also got a 14-point bid. My only thought here, this is part of the reason why I don't necessarily like Del Mico and R4 Astromechs in a list with just a Gav. I've done the math, and a Son of Skywalker from either Luke should statistically kill a Gav in 1 activation. You won't have time to heal it. So in those situations where you run into a Luke, Del Mico and that Astro are going to be kind of useless. There are probably a lot of other situations where it matters. But in that kind of, I want to call it niche, but in that situation where Luke pops up, he's going to wreck the tank, most likely, and you're not going to get a chance to heal it. So, just food for thought. I'd like to see this list on the table. I think it's you've got a good order pool here. I'm assuming you're going to be issuing orders to the tank almost all the time, which is good. So I'd actually maybe suggest taking the HQ uplink off of the tank and switching it with a link targeting array. But other than that, I think everything looks really, really solid. Let's see here. Got a link here. I'm assuming this is... Oh, yeah, okay, so this is from Mandalore. I found his list. I actually really don't have any suggestions here besides the commentary on the Del Mico R4 thing. Just that be aware that Luke Skywalker will absolutely wreck the living daylights out of it. And also, with those dewbacks, it might also be worth taking flamers. Those are my 2 thoughts. It might be worth taking flamers, and Del Mico might not end up being as useful as you think. Those are my 2 thoughts. All right, so finally we have the Mandalore list. My first thought is I don't love the grenade launcher on this build. As I was saying before with what Prairie Pirates asked on Twitch, I would take the twin light blaster cannon in almost all situations. You've got the points for it. I would take it. You have a ton of repair. I mean, that is a whole lot of repair. You repair up to 8 wounds. That's really good. It's going to be really hard for them to take out your ATST. Boss can hang out at range. You've got a lot of range here. My first thought is it's going to have trouble with snipers. Is like my thought is you're going to get your stormtroopers are going to get picked off by snipers, which is again why I think you don't want the grenade launcher. I think you want to take the twin light in this scenario. So have 2 identical ATSTs like this. We have Ebinox on the Imperial officer. I'm assuming you're giving those aims to both the ATSTs. You're going to get diminishing returns for every aim that they get. I'd rather you take this off and just have the Imperial officer feed aims to Del Mico, so that he can aim shoot and get his lethal as well as a reroll, and give like Bosk Hunter maybe. I don't know, or just take the 9-point bid. The other trouble I have with this is it's 7 acts, and as much as I talk about going low activations on lists, I'm not super keen on going below 8. It's been my experience that 8 is, it's not hard, or it's not, I shouldn't say not hard. It's possible and maybe even probable that most 8-act builds can get your opponent down to the equal number of acts. 7 acts really struggles to catch up because your opponent is going... This list, I see your opponent being able to pick their engagements a lot more effectively than you can. Without a pass mechanic in this game or anything like that, your opponent can, if they're cunning and the terrain allows it, they're going to give you suboptimal targets every turn. They're going to pop out their best stuff towards the end, and kind of just dodge and recycle those units so that you can't actually focus your fire on anything that's useful. You're going to end up I think a lot of games with this is going to end up with like a lot of unit leaders outscoring you. I think you're leaning a little too heavily on the repair aspect here. So I don't know how I would change it. I don't dislike the list. I just think you need to find a way to make it go to 8 acts. That would be my suggestion. At the very least. Just try to push it to 8 acts. If you can do that, I think it's probably solid. Let's see here. Delmico can take care of the snipers. I mean, he can. I think the ATSTs are, the ATSTs can do it as well. It's just, I don't know. Again, I would look at, because they can also just hide their snipers turn 1 and pop out after you've already gone. There's too many options where your opponent can do a lot after you're already done. Maybe exclude Bosk. Well, at that point, you might as well just go with the double ATST build I posted before, or some variant thereof. I like the fact that you're including Bosk. I just don't know. I also think Bosk single ATST is fine, but that's beyond the scope of this stream. Let me see here. So yeah, those are my thoughts on that, I guess. Work with it though. Play with it. Try to figure out what like changes you can make to it, and it might be really good. I think there's too much opponent's choice in this list. Your opponent's going to be able to pick and choose value for themselves, and you're going to struggle to pick value because you have so few activations. Yeah, so that's what I think about that. Let's see here. You know what? Let's do a little thought exercise. Since you brought it up, I'm gonna try to build a similar list. And let me see what I can do with it. So we're gonna cut all this. We'll start with Bosk, 2 ATSTs. I am gonna cut the link targeting arrays because I don't think they're necessary. They're nice to have, but if you don't have them, you don't have them. Let's grab 2 Imperial officers because they're cheap. Let's grab 3 stormtroopers, and let's grab 2 snipers. Okay, we can't afford 2 snipers. That's going to tell me we can't take any snipers. Okay, so we can afford about 4 stormtroopers, and we're now at 9 activations. Now, if I just stick Astros and everyone, where am I at? 797. I don't love it, but that's the same amount of repair as the other list, with more activations, and the only value your opponent has to shoot at is the ATSTs or Bosk, and Bosk can kite. So, I mean, sometimes that's something that's simple as best. Again, I think that there's maybe too much repair here. So let's say I cut... No, I just cut 2 storms. I meant to cut 2 droids. No, I will actually say go for 4 Astros. Yeah, I think that could be interesting too. That would be what I would try at least as the starting core of it, and then just like mess around with it and see how I feel. You're gonna spend a lot of time just using the stormtroopers to do nothing or score like objectives. They're gonna repair, move. They're not gonna shoot a lot. You're really gonna be relying on your ATSTs and boss to roll well every turn. Which, to be fair, with your Imperial officers, you can really buff up their aim generation. So maybe that's fine. I don't know. But food for thought as a kind of a simpler thought exercise. So yeah, I think I'm going to wait a few minutes. I'm going to try actually really quick to update the schedule, or to have a second schedule so people can kind of see what the Twitch stream is going to look like. So while I'm waiting for any commentary, I'm going to quickly take a look at this. So we'll start on the 6th. Apparently December and September had the exact same dates, or days on their dates, which is kind of interesting. Maybe that's something that's normal. I don't know. I don't pay enough attention to that sort of thing. Okay, so let's see here. And then there we go. All right, so almost updated here. I'll be coming back to your guys' comments in a sec, so if you've said anything, I will see it. I just realized also the times on the live stream setup that I have currently are wrong. All of my live streams take place at 5 p.m. That's just a good time for me, so please, if you saw a different time, please be aware it is 5 o'clock if you're going through this later. All of my live streams will take place at 5. Okay. Probably hemorrhaging viewers here. All right, there we go. Cool. Okay, so this will be... So this is the schedule for the upcoming Team Relentless ones. This is going to be the special schedule. That looks like garbage, so we'll just do it here. I thought I could make something fancy here, but it did not work. Oop, that's not what I wanted, but thanks anyway. You know, these stream systems are not always great for for trying to design stuff, I'll tell you that. Okay, here we go. Boom! There we go. That's probably a better representation of my personal plans for the upcoming week. So, if you're curious about that stuff, it's all there. And with that, it looks like we are probably gonna tie it off there. Now that I've successfully managed to completely derail my whole thought process and plan here. So I hope you enjoyed it. And like I said, there will also be a poll at some point in regards to what streams and what list building I will be doing in the January sets. So also please let me know if you have any thoughts. I know that this one has been really all over the place. So hopefully we'll be improving on every live stream. If you have any comments, thoughts on how to make it better, please let me know. I would really appreciate it. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy your weekend and have